I mean, Terrence Ross got going. What do you have, like 17 in one quarter? I mean, he was just going. Can't let that happen, or we at least have to be aware of that. And I don't even think we knew he got going. And as a team, I feel like we need to talk to each other and help each other out.
Welcome back to the show for part 2. Quickly, I want to tell you about this post-game show on CLNS Radio coming up this Sunday. They're going to be bringing on the original Celtics podcaster, Justin Poulin of Celtics Stuff Live.
Legend.
Absolute legend.
Absolutely.
I think pretty much all of us grew up listening to Celtics Stuff Live. It was the first Celtic-specific show that I can remember going back to like the mid-2000s even.
Oh, it was like the Antoine days, man.
Yeah.
It was some good times.
It was a great show. So he's coming out of semi-retirement. He's going to be co-hosting the Garden Report. Sorry, this is the Garden Report. The Celtics post-game show on CLNS Radio with Larry H. Russell of Celtics Beat and Nick Gelso, the owner and co-founder of CLNS Radio. So they'll be on pre-game, and then you can hear Justin post-game. So you can tune into the post-game show Sunday by going to clnsradio.com/CelticsVSpurs. And of course, subscribe to Celtics Beat on iTunes/Stitcher. And hey, give us a subscription over on iTunes/Stitcher. Find the Garden Report. You can hear everything we say without actually looking at us. And you can even pull up the Grandstand app to watch the Grandstand play the game when we're talking about it. All right, so now let's talk about the rest of this game.
We need to get the vodcast. You gotta get a subscription now so they can still watch it.
I like that. Or you can just hold up a photo of us on your phone while you listen to the podcast.
That's good. They
There are
probably
many
have
creative
photos.
ways. Yeah, you can go to my Instagram.
We'll have to take some
Jared
selfies
Weiss
on the
NBA on Instagram. You can go there. So
You can't plug your own Instagram.
screw that. It's my show. I can do that. So in the fourth
Jimmy
quarter,
says.
so the fourth quarter of this game, Terrence Ross went absolutely off. 6 for 7 from the field, 13 points.
T. Rosie.
And that's in 9.5 minutes, or 9 minutes 50 seconds to be specific. Even at 3 rebounds, he actually led the entire game in rebounds during the fourth quarter too. That was the fourth quarter where David Lee logged 0 minutes to be precise. Yeah, Jay Crowder playing the entire quarter. Evan Turner played the entire quarter. So they have Crowder out there, they have Turner out there. It doesn't have any effect whatsoever on Terrence Ross, Kevin.
Yeah, it's like we said in the first segment, Terrence Ross just got a red hot type of night where no matter what you're giving him, running him off the three-point line, and he's still hitting the mid-range jumper. And I think the problem wasn't as much Ross hitting shots, it's that the Raptors are getting in penetration at the basket, so they're kicking it out to Ross and letting him create with space. And going forward, you wonder, is there an issue with the pick and roll defense? It's early in the season. This team is new, a lot of new guys playing together for the first time. So it's not worth really overreacting to, but it's something they need to solve going forward, especially versus Sunday versus the Spurs.
I mean, it wasn't like Lowry was incredible tonight, but he had 9 assists in 34 minutes. That was good. But their PNR defense, I think the issue there is that even if they can stuff the ball up top, they're not doing a good job recovering around the horn. And we saw Amir Johnson got caught kind of in no man's land trying to play the pivot a lot tonight. A lot of backdoor cuts going behind him. I mean, Amir, he's a 4 that they're trying to put as a sole pivot man. When he was in Toronto, he was playing alongside Valanciunas, or Valenpoopy as I like to call him. And I
haven't heard that in a while.
I know, it's been a while, right? It's an old Basketball Jones reference there. But so with Amir, he's trying to be the 5, and he's qualified to do it. But especially when he's going up against a team that they obviously know him like the back of their hand, they were able to expose him. The Celtics are going to have some sort of weak side coverage, I think, while Amir is playing the 5. And they didn't have it tonight. That's something they're going to have to work out. I mean, Stevens is still tinkering with the lineups, like you said, after the game. So finding the right combination is going to be key for them. That second unit with Olynyk, that's a defensive liability right now. Turner and Olynyk there alongside Amir and Isaiah. They got to figure out what they're going to do defensively. Having Bradley out there or Smart out there with them helps, but they're going to need Olynyk to improve his defensive awareness if they're going to be able to pull it off.
It's definitely about finding the right combinations. And right now, Stevens has to look at the tape, find out who works well together. Look at the advanced stats, go talk to the guys in the front office, David Sparks, Drew Cannon, find out from them what is clicking in the preseason, what is clicking now, using their practice data, everything at their disposal to find out what's going to work. Because as we've mentioned, whether it's Lee and Turner, Johnson, the communication's not there right now. There's a lot that needs to be ironed out, even though it's early in the year.
And they can send us their practice data too if they want us to take a look at it.
No, just quick note, we already talked about how Lee didn't play in the fourth. Well, neither did Johnson. So the two big off-season acquisitions, neither one of those guys logs, a minute in the fourth quarter. Makes a little more sense on Johnson, if you're down by a lot and you're trying to get some offense in there. But it really is going to it's really going to depend on what the score is for this game. Because you've got Zeller, who didn't play that much in the fourth quarter either, once again. So I mean, there's some big men here that we should be seeing a lot more of. That I think, like you said, it's just mixing and matching, trying to find what works. And I think they were just really scrambling there in that fourth quarter. They went down by 19 at one point. I mean, at that point, the poop just hits the fan, and you just kind of start throwing stuff out there and seeing if anything works, if anything clicks. And they chipped away at it, but at that point, it was just way too late.
Second poop reference of the night, thank you. And, the thing was, they went jumbo.
The over-under was 2.5.
That's right.
We can get one more.
So they went with a jumbo lineup where they were putting Jerebko at the 3 in response to the run that was made in the third quarter. And that wasn't working because the Raptors were able just to run on that team more, and the Celtics were missing shots, so there was no really, it was all transition opportunity, basically. Then they tried to go uber small in the fourth quarter where they're using Olynyk as a 4/5 a lot of the time. They're trying to be more of a shooting and running team in the fourth quarter. None of it worked. I mean, obviously, to make it simple, they weren't hitting their shots. They were committing fouls or returning the ball over. But it's a small sample size, but so far it looks like they haven't found lineup combinations with the second unit that work defensively, and they haven't looked good defensively in either game now. They face San Antonio on Sunday. Obviously, Toronto's a challenge. San Antonio is a mammoth mountain to climb, so it'll be fascinating to see if there are any changes made for that lineup on Sunday.
It's like Spurs versus Spurs super light. Kind of like deal. But
Toronto kind of played like a super light version of the Spurs.
No, they did. Toronto played well
Celtics.
tonight. And I actually really like, I don't know if we're going back to Ross here. I know we aren't, but just really quick, I liked him off the bench tonight. I mean, I think he's one of those guys. I mean, he can start. Obviously, he's been a starter, but he's kind of like, he's not like Isaiah Thomas position-wise, but he's kind of like Isaiah Thomas, where you get like the instant offense. You bring him in, he knows he knows what to look for. He knows what he needs to do, and in certain situations, because they added Carroll now. He can just come in and just give him the ball, and if he's feeling it, like we saw tonight, he's the difference maker. I mean, if it wasn't for Ross, the Celtics, they had a shot at coming back in this game.
And not to turn a negative into a positive, but you were talking about all the lineups being able to put Jerebko at the 4, Olynyk at the 5. There is going to be nights where that works, and Stevens having 5 or 6 bigs, if you want to count Mickey, he's able to play different combinations. He can play big against certain lineups, like he did in the first half. Or he can go small and stretch teams, putting Jerebko at the 4. So Stevens definitely has his options on a night-to-night basis, and there will be nights it works.
All right, well, we'll see if it works out Sunday night. So for Kevin, for Jimmy, I'm Jared.
Don't we have a video there?
I'm going to get to it in a sec.
Oh, okay.
I want to give credit where credit is due
okay.
first.
I want to make sure you didn't forget.
I want to thank these guys. So we were going to do a segment with Terrence Ross one-on-one.
Spoiler alert.
After the
Spoilers.
game, and I started to interview him, and then we had a surprise guest interrupt the video. So we're just going to run it for you here to end the show. Good night. We'll see you Sunday. So weaknesses that you could expose just because you're familiar with them?
Really, you just gotta pay attention to what they're doing.
A little close.
You gotta pay attention to what they're doing, because if you do, you'll be ready for it. That's me.
So I have a professional crew working with me tonight. So hey, you should hold the microphone.
Hello.
You hold it like that.